Hey everybody, how you doing? I found a couple little things I wanted to show them to you. Now I live in Oklahoma, so kind of come as a shock to me when a little tiny fragment of an article appeared in my newspaper. I pulled this up off of the internet, and this is from Channel 5 apparently. AP out of Oklahoma City, dated August 16th. And Oklahoma and Louisiana emergency officials team up for mass evacuation exercise. What is this? Well, let's read it. Let's see what it is, or what they say it is. Emergency management officials from Oklahoma and Louisiana are teaming up to plan for how they would handle a mass evacuation. Oklahoma and Louisiana are teaming up to plan for how they will handle, but it says would here, how they would handle a mass evacuation. A task force, I don't know how many's in the task force, and more than 100 volunteers are working this week to test the Oklahoma shelter program during an exercise in Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. Now that is all that was in the newspaper that I have. I've got that newspaper in my hand right now. So that article stops right there. And this is what they have added to it on the internet. Whether it's a full article, I guess, or whether it's spin, but we'll go through it. The program was developed following the evacuation of hundreds of Louisiana residents to Oklahoma after Hurricanes Gustav and Katrina. The Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management worked with Louisiana officials to determine available shelter locations in Shreveport. In the case of an evacuation from coastal regions, Oklahoma emergency management personnel would travel to Louisiana. Dubbed Shelter in a Box, the national pilot program is federally funded under an interstate mutual aid program. Okay. So they're saying that this is something useful in time of emergency, which it could be if they used it for those purposes. And that they're just going to do some practice stuff just in case. How they would handle a mass evacuation. Okay, well, be aware. There it is. 5 News. Keep it local. That's who did it in Oklahoma. That's the article. They're teaming up for a mass evacuation exercise. Well, we've had exercise in the New Madrid. Now we've got exercise between our two states. You know, it's the things they leave out of articles sometimes. So you just kind of have to ask yourself, what would you be evacuating from? And think of all the terrible things that could possibly uproot people and cause them to have to flee to a different place because where they're at is very not safe. And therein lies what they have left out of the article. So we go over to this one. France and Germany suggest new world order with European economic government. We'll get back to this one, but that's the beefy headline of that article. And we'll go to this one first. French, German leaders urge elected Eurozone chief. This is out of Brussels, dated the 17th. So you had Sarkozy Sarkozy and Merkel, leaders of France and Germany, said on Wednesday that they want the heads of the Eurozone countries to elect the president of a new economic government who would direct regular summits to respond to the continent's financial crisis. So for a lot of them in the markets, the proposal didn't impress them. Grand plan to save the euro. A sign that the Eurozone was moving towards a single bond issued by the 17 countries. Sarkozy and Merkel outlined their proposal in a letter to Herman van Rompuy, President of the European Council. They said that they hoped he would get the job. Well. The two leaders who met in Paris called the twice-yearly summits the cornerstone of the new economic government of the Eurozone. They also raised the politically sensitive issue of pensions, saying Eurozone states should rapidly implement structural reform, including changes in retirement policy, but they did not expand or elaborate. Okay. Let's see. As global stocks fell, shares and stock exchange operators were hit particularly hard on the news. The two leaders wanted to introduce a tax on financial transactions. Okay, let's steal some more money. Deutsche Börse slid 3.7%, and the London Stock Exchange Group plc was down 4.7%. Merkel and Sarkozy said the two countries' finance ministers would come up with a proposal by when? September. That would be forwarded to the European Commission. A transaction tax. A small percentage, just a small one, taken from foreign exchange and share transactions, for instance, has been proposed as a source of money to pay for bank bailouts. Great idea. What a pyramid scam. But European Central Bank head Jean-Claude Trichet says it would only work if introduced globally. Oh, got to be global. The U.S. is also against the idea. So we know that everything Obama says, in reality, it's the opposite of it. So, the U.S. is also against the idea. Well, that means we're in. German Chancellor Angela Merkel's spokesman, Stefan Siebert, said the proposals would bring a higher level of commitment to efforts to stabilize budgets and fight debt. Yet Wednesday's letter seemed to back away from the boldest proposal Sarkozy had put forward a day earlier: the creation of a Eurozone economic government. The letter gave few details and described it primarily as a reinforcement of the current policy. Former Belgian Prime Minister Guy Verhofstadt, gotta love them names, told VRT Radio the biannual summits would absolutely not create an economic government, called the proposal window dressing. A prominent opposition lawmaker in Germany was equally unimpressed. And analysts said the proposals would do little to pull Europe out of its quagmire. Okay. Let me come back down here. Sarkozy and Merkel said Tuesday that a Eurobond might eventually be created, but not in the near future. Eurobonds are viewed with suspicion in Germany, where critics say they would encourage other countries to continue running up debt. Without such a move, the Eurozone is doomed, said McKeel. Okay. That's almost to the end of that. Last week, let's see, something about Spanish bonds here. Let's look at that real quick. The bank is buying Italian and Spanish bonds on the secondary market, driving down their 10-year borrowing costs, which had been rising to perilously high levels above 6%. Last week, the bank bought about $32 billion of bonds in the markets, and that's got the yields on Italian and Spanish 10-year bonds down to the 5% level, which is considered manageable for now. But there are questions about how long the bank can maintain that practice, which puts the default risk of both countries onto its balance sheet and risks blurring the roles of central banks and government budget authorities. Well, they're just a player in the scheme, and that explains it all. Okay. And we go over here to scan through this little one and see what kind of stuff they have in common with what we just looked at, or any new lies or any twist of anything. And it basically says that heads of government from all Eurozone nations is what they want. True economic government, European economic government. They would want to meet twice a year, more if necessary. It's pretty much got about the same information. It's a shorter article. Neither Merkel nor Sarkozy suggested any short-term solutions to the debt currently plaguing the region. Neither one of them, Germany nor France, suggested any means none, short-term solutions to the debt crisis. Does that sound like the do-nothing that we have right now? This is all designed. It's not happening by accident the way it is. Merkel said the crisis had been building over several years and that it will take time and stronger coordination of financial and economic policy in order to protect the euro. France and Germany suggest a new world order with a European economic government. Now, when we went to Libya, who's the little wuss that was leading the charge wanting to go in there? You know, acting all ballsy and everything. Pardon my French, I didn't mean to say that, but I just slipped out. I believe it was the little Frenchman. And I believe Barack and the little Frenchman palled up, and then everything happened as it were in Libya. I think he said we'd just be there a few days, just lending a hand, you know, getting things going, helping out. And it's been a few months, hasn't it? So, you know, we're just running up billions. He just said it'd be a few days. Anyway, his pal and Merkel are coming out and they're wanting this, whether it happens or not. Well, you know it will eventually because it's prescribed to. So they're talking, they're getting newsworthy, and they're putting it out. So, let's see here. Okay. Monday night, these are pictures I took Monday night. Monday night, there was a full moon. And I came out on my lunch break and was looking for it. I didn't see it, but I didn't look low enough in the horizon. And what it was it was pretty low in the horizon, and I wanted to get a picture really bad to show you everyone. And it was really reddish orange as it was coming up low in the horizon. It was really, really big. I mean big. So when I saw it, finally found it, I ran back in and got my camera. And I come back out, and this red thing here where my cursor is at, there's a power pole right here. This is a street right here that runs north and south, and this is the east-west one right here with all the lights, traffic lights. And this is like a message board. This road here runs to the grain elevator down there. And this has got time, temperature, and all that junk on it. That moon, and this probably stands about 20 feet off the ground, something like that. This moon was right here. This moon was right here. Not all the way up, and it was really big. I mean, it was big, like the shape of big where I'm moving like that right there. And it came to where I was standing about even with this top of this message board thing. And this sounds weird, but I don't know what happened. My camera's pointed right at it. It's right here, right there. And I'm seeing it bigger than everything. But when I look in that viewfinder, there isn't anything there. And it freaked me out. I'll be smooth up with you. I thought my camera was broke. And then I stopped and took pictures of the cars and the building and everything, and then they all came out. Low light setting, normal setting, everything came out perfect. And I swiveled around and shot another one. I actually took this picture here, even though I thought can't be anything on it. I don't see nothing. I don't know why. And I took another one, and it's the same. It's just the same, almost duplicate angle and everything. I don't know why. Because the moon is right here. Huge, reddish orange. Okay? You don't see nothing, do you? Nothing. Nowhere. Pardon me. But I'm telling you, it was right there. Alright. So then, and that would be about 20 after 9. Probably about that range right there. So then I came out about 10 o'clock, and I checked again, and I knew if I wasn't able to get it pretty quickly, that it would be coming up and moving over and changing colors and getting lighter and getting smaller looking. So this is all that I got when I came out, and it's right over here now, and you can't really see it real good. But there's that pole. I took it by the other time. There's that message board. These are cars driving along here. Lights up here. And it has moved, huge as it was, from here, going that way and rising up. So I'll get it as much as I can for you. But it certainly looks fragmented and tiny compared to what it was when it was over here. I mean, it was huge right here, so it's moving out and up and away. And then I came out at 10:30 at my break, and there you have that. That's risen pretty quickly from when I saw it at 20 after 9 to it would actually be 20 after 10. We're 10 minutes ahead. So it's 20 after 10 now, and an hour later it looks way far away, and it has changed to white. So those are just some things I want to tell you. I had a real good picture. I swear I did. This is it. This is the mother of all pictures. I took it. I swear it was there. I don't know why my camera wouldn't photograph it. I've put up other times, I've took pictures of reddish orange moons, but they were already ascending up higher, and they weren't as low to the horizon. So I don't have an explanation for it. It's coming up later now, because on Tuesday and tonight it was not above this horizon high enough. I couldn't even see anything. I couldn't see nothing. Nowhere. And the sky was really, really dark. You couldn't see any stars at all, really. And there's a few clouds. So I don't know why it didn't photograph. I'll have to think about that. But it's going to be coming up later, so when I get out there at my usual time at 9:20, I don't think it's going to be high enough for me to see it then. If I can get there between then and 10:20, well, I'll certainly grab a good photo of it. It's not going to look as good probably because it's not going to be as full. I'm hoping that I can get something good to show you all from the angle that I see it where I live at and everything, what it looks like. So until I can, I'll keep trying. And we've got some dates coming up. And we don't have but what, 24 days until the 11th. So everyone keep that in mind. And try to do what you can to prepare for it. And even if we're a little late on the timing, if it's, just don't, think that nothing's up just because it might be a day off or whatever. And you could hit right on a day, it could be before, who knows. But just keep being ready and doing what we can do. And say your prayers and ask God for help and tell Him to help, or ask Him to help. Everybody throughout the whole world. The world is a complete wreck. The world is a mess. It's a train wreck. And it can't be fixed. Not with the way that things are going and what system we're in and what they want to take us into. We already know all about what they want to take us into and what it'd be like. And we don't want it. So I keep every one of you in my prayers and my thoughts every day, and I appreciate all the fine comments and compliments that you have and the messaging that we do together. Your thoughts are much appreciated, and your support continues just to drive me, because I'd like to help show things and explain things and keep people aware and open and awake, because there's still tons and tons and tons of people that are not awake. They still don't know anything about what's coming, and the ones that have the opportunity have already dismissed it. So they still are out there as the tons of them that don't know. And they need our prayers, because it's going to be, we've got a little bit of a head start on them, because we're preparing. They're blowing it off and not paying attention, or else they're just dismissing it as nothing. So even as bad as that is to do, because there's nothing wrong ever with being ready in case of anything. That's not wrong, that's smart. And it's not wise to be not ready. So they will need our help and they will need our prayers. And that's what we got to do. We're all in it together, and we got to stay strong for each other. So until next time, that's what I wanted to bring you tonight. I shall see you all soon. Everyone have a fine day tomorrow, We're almost through the work week. If you get off Friday night and you don't have to go in on Saturday, and you're almost there. So, can't wait to say it, but TGIF is coming, and I'm glad. So I'll talk to you all soon. May God bless every one of you and keep you safe. Loving you and giving you strength. Night to everyone.